Your heart needs to be strong to keep up. Flora for a strong heart today. Over the years, we've been overwhelmed with information about fat, and it's generally got a bad reputation. Maretha Opperman has done extensive research on fats and knows the good and the bad of this substance.
Maretha, many people think that fat is the enemy of good nutrition, but does dietary fat serve a purpose in our bodies?
Yes, indeed. Fat is part of all our cells in our bodies, and it has various other applications. For instance, it is protecting all our internal organs like your heart and your kidneys. It is also important for insulation, to keep you warm. It also is a very important carrier for your fat-soluble vitamins like your vitamins A, E, D and K. So your body can't be without fat. Without fat, you will not survive.
What are the different dietary fats and how do I tell them apart?
We actually get two types of fat, namely saturated fat and unsaturated fats. The unsaturated fats can then be divided into polyunsaturates and monounsaturates. Your saturated fats are the harder fat. Saturated fats are solid at room temperature. And examples are the fat on meat as well as the fat that we have in butter and various other animal products. Then you get your polyunsaturated fatty acids. They are in the form of oils, and typically at room temperature they are not solids. A good example of polyunsaturated fats is your canola oils or your sunflower oils. Typically your monounsaturated fats or your olive oils. Then also very important, this is also a polyunsaturated fat but an omega-3 fatty acid as we call it, and that is in the form of fish oil, and we would rather prefer to take in more of this compared to your sunflower oil, for instance.
The difference between saturated and unsaturated fats is in their chemical structure. Saturated fats are evenly filled with hydrogen atoms, while unsaturated fats are not tightly packed with hydrogen atoms and have space to pick up bad cholesterol molecules.
Does dietary fat make you fat?
Dietary fat is a very important part of our diet, but we must also remember if you eat too much, then you will get fat. The more energy you put into your body and the less you burn every day, that is actually making you fat. But one should also remember that dietary fat contains twice as much energy, or kilojoules then, compared to your protein and carbohydrates. The other advantage of fat is also that it makes you feel fuller for longer periods of time. So you have to control your dietary intake, whether it's fat, protein or carbohydrates. It's not really fair to make fat the enemy in the diet. It is a combination of factors that actually influence your health and your well-being.
Registered dietitian Amanda Claassen-Smithers helps to explain the guidelines of what to eat to ensure you get the right fats from your food.
Amanda, what is the link between dietary fat and heart disease?
Ayanda, it's really related to two things. It's the overall amount of fat in the diet and also the specific type of fat. And the type of fat most closely linked to heart disease is the amount of saturated fat, and that is typically the fats found in animal fat, whereas the other types of fats like polyunsaturated fats, that is the fat we find in marine sources like fish, or some of the plant sources also have polyunsaturated fats. That's better for your heart, as well as monounsaturated fats like in avocado, pears, nuts, olives, olive oil, also canola oil.
The chemical structure of saturated fats means they tend to bond in the bloodstream, which increases the level of bad cholesterol and causes blockages or plaques. Unsaturated fats scavenge and pick up bad cholesterol, which clears up the bloodstream.
When reading food labels, it can seem a bit complicated. So what are we looking out for to make sure that we get the right kinds of fats?
Luckily nowadays, most of the labels give you the total fat, but also the breakdown of the different kinds of fat. So you would want to look at the proportion of saturated fats versus monounsaturated versus polyunsaturated. And the key there is to have as little as possible of the saturated fats. Linked to that is trans fats, and then your monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. In terms of the overall amount, you want proportionally more of that.
Fats have a very bad reputation, but in summary, what should we be looking out for?
Overall, you want a low-fat intake. Low-fat diets is still, by and large, proven as the best type of eating for health and also for weight management. Second to that, you definitely want to look at the type of fat, have more of the monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, eat more fish, and cut down on the saturated fats, which is mostly your animal sources.
Forget the fiction, fat is not the foe, shouldn't be feared, and if you choose the right kind, can help you build a fit heart. Your heart needs to be strong to keep up. Flora, for a strong heart today.